life isn't any fun without a sense of enough. So the reality is that if you're constantly chasing, if you're constantly wanting more, you're not happy with what you have. Hello and welcome to the Pybites Podcast, where we talk about Python, career, and mindset. We're your hosts. I'm Julian Sequeira.
And I am Bob Beldebos. If you're looking to improve your Python, your career, and learn the mindset for success, this is the podcast for you. Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Pybites Podcast. This is Bob Beldebos. I'm here with
Julian Sequeira. How's it going, man?
Yeah, great. I'm just excited to be recording again. I think this will be 117, and I think this morning we just realized how many episodes we're in and how many people are listening, and it's just exciting to me how we can do this and how people get value from this. Thank you for listening.
Compound effect. I love it.
Yeah. What do you mean with that, actually?
What do you mean, Julian? Please tell me more. We've been recording one episode every week. I mean, we have our gaps here and there, but we record 2 episodes in one week to make up for it. Yeah, an average of 1 episode per week for over 2 years. And man, I could never have imagined that we're up to episode 117.
Exactly.
It's cool.
But these small bits that you do over time, and then it starts to snowball. That's basically the compound thing.
Yeah. If you would tell us to record 117 episodes in 2 weeks, we'd have a heart attack. But you just
we almost didn't do it, right?
Bit.
Yeah, we almost fridged it. Like, not good enough.
But we did. Oh, nice! I like that. That was good. A good sort of segue into the topic for today. But
not intentional. But
you didn't even mean it. It's only because you used the word enough.
Enough
is enough. Enough is enough. So to kick this off first, Bob, wins. What's on?
I like how you created this open loop. Like now everybody's wondering, like, what is this enough business? And then they go to the wins. You know.
You can wait. You can wait till we share our wins.
A technical win, I think, I'm sure of, is regular expressions. Some label them as you have a regular expression, now you have 2 problems. But no, they're super powerful, right? And I had to deliver a code clinic on them. And I took a very practical approach by doing like 15 exercises. And that went really well with people because it's so practical. Because you can give like a very long theoretical spiel explaining all the meta characters, and that's like super boring. But it was kind of nice to see going back to our roots of exercises was really helpful. And then, of course, shout out to the people, PDMers, doing some excellent questioning. So it went all over the place, but it was very cool. So I got some nice feedback. Yeah.
Nice, man. Very cool. Insight into the experience in PDM.
It's no joke. What about you?
No, I love it. Mine's actually a Pybites win, but it was a great week. Last week was fantastic, full of energy, and I had so many different wins in our wins doc this week that we filled out. Actually,
took me 10 minutes to read
it. One of the big ones was, the kids doing extremely well in school, had the parent-teacher interviews, and everything went well. So that was good. But I really wanted to share that it took me by surprise a couple of weeks ago when I realized just how big the Pybites team has gotten. So for all of you watching and listening, Bob and I, we do this stuff. We do what we do. We run the business. We make the content and so on and so forth. But we have so many people supporting us to the point where we realized we had about 14 people, including the 2 of us. So 12 outside of us, supporting us in some way, shape, or form on a regular basis. And so, it made me realize we actually have a team, because we normally work with these people on
different... didn't know that.
I'm a terrible leader. No, we work with these people on very different projects, right, and different aspects. So we have the coaches, we have things to do with recruiting, we have things to do with social media and so on.
Hard work.
And yeah, all these different aspects of
Admin stuff.
Pybites. Yeah. And I was like, wow, we need to get these people together. So last week, this is the win. We had our very first all Pybites team meeting. And, based on time zones, it was a bit rough, but with the exception of, I think, two people, we had everyone on the call. And it was mind-blowing. It was one of the best calls of my entire life. We had so much fun, and everyone was just so energized. And since then, the energy within Pybites has just been incredible.
Crippled.
So
yeah,
we work with some truly amazing people. So any of them that are listening, they should all be listening if they know what's good for them.
No, that's like tough on the podcast. They're doing the real work.
Yeah, they're doing the real. We're having fun on the podcast. They're doing the actual work. But
big shout out.
Big shout out to the team. They're wonderful people, and what really blew my mind for everyone listening and watching again is just how many different walks of life. I know that one of the buzzwords these days is diversity, but man, I tell you, if you want to see a diverse team, look at this Pybites team. It was incredible. See all the different countries we represent and live in and come from, and amazing. So, yeah, that's it. That's my rambling on that. So there's my win. There's our win.
Yeah, mind blowing is well stated. Yeah, and so amazing people. So we're very grateful.
So the question then begs to differ is what's enough for us? How much is it?
That's enough. I think we're done.
Yeah. I think we're done. When is enough?
Okay, you lead into the topic. I think we can also keep it pretty concise, this one. So where is this enough business coming from?
Yeah, so this
from
week,
a book, right?
Last week, I held the mindset call for PDM, and I was inspired by a topic from The Psychology of Money, which I talked about as the book I was reading last week, the week before maybe. And this topic, it is financially based, but I want you to, as you listen to what I'm about to say, think about this from your life perspective, not just financial, right? When they're talking about finance and when is enough enough, we're talking about how much money do you actually need to survive, right? How much do you actually need to be happy from a financial perspective? Now, I want you to convert that question to your life in general, to job, career chasing, to friendships, to, anything that you can apply that to, really, that you can think about. Where are those goalposts for you? And so I got everyone on the call really thinking about this stuff, because we're almost, I'll use the word indoctrinated or trained or honed, whatever, through our lives to think that we need to climb that corporate ladder, right? And certainly when you go into a company, there are companies that will chase you if you haven't climbed that ladder or changed out of your role or promoted or whatever within X many years, right? Or in a certain amount of time, they'll be chasing you, hounding you. How come you're not doing more? How come you're not climbing that ladder, right? So we are forced in a way to keep pushing and keep working to climb that corporate ladder from a job perspective. And one thing we never ask ourselves is, where do we stop? And when is enough? When is it too much? And why do the goalposts keep moving? When are we actually going to kick the goal and be happy with the fact that we reached that goal? So that's where all this comes from, Bob. So I'm going to stop yapping. What's on your mind? What do you think about that?
Is it a moving target?
It can be. So that's a really interesting question. And it was something that was brought up by Reese on our call. So Reese, who's been on the podcast a couple of times now. Thank you, Reese. Shout out to Reese. What's interesting is sometimes you might think to yourself, so if you do this exercise for yourself, if you're listening and you think, okay, enough for me from my career perspective might be to become a software developer, right? Or it might be, if you're already a software developer, think to yourself, I want to become a software development manager, right? And so let's say you get that role and you think, good, that's enough. I'm done. I'm happy. I'm just going to work on this and do my best in this position. And that's happiness for me, right? But those goalposts might move because you might realize once you're in that job that you actually hate it, that you're unhappy, that it wasn't enough because your values have changed and you realize that actually what I do day to day, that's not enough now to keep me happy. That was enough to earn me a paycheck and give me the reputation and all that sort of stuff that I wanted. But it wasn't enough to fulfill me from a soul values perspective and how I feel about what I do every day. So this is a very tough thing to find the balance on, right? At some point, you probably realize, okay, it's mostly enough what I'm doing every day. Maybe a couple of things lacking here and there, such as flexibility to reach to your happiness, whatever it might be. But it's something to keep at the back of your mind every day. So there's a couple of quotes I want to quote now from the book. Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
No? Okay. All right.
I'm all ears.
So, and this one definitely feels like it has a bit more to do with money, but just consider this. There is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you don't have and what you don't need. So obviously, if you talk about money, it's talking about risking your current financial safety, whatever situation you're in, to go for extra money that you don't actually need, money that you don't have. So when it comes to your job, think about that. If you're happy and you're actually the work that you do every day and it provides you with what you need and you're happy with that, there's no need to risk everything for something that you don't actually have and don't need, such as a title, right? Is a title actually going to make your life any happier, as an example?
Right.
And this leads on to the next one, which is life isn't any fun without a sense of enough. So the reality is that if you're constantly chasing, if you're constantly wanting more, you're not happy with what you have, with the status quo. It's a simplistic concept that we talk about with our kids a lot. Be happy with what you have, mate. Stop asking for more games. Just be happy with the stuff that you have. But we as adults tend to forget that advice that we so easily throw at our kids, for example, when it comes to things like the job and certainly finance. So those two were two of my favorite quotes that I actually highlighted on the Kindle when I was reading it. But yeah, it comes down to a few things, to help you prevent this sort of feeling of I don't have enough. Don't compare yourself to others. Do that. Write down. What I find is really helpful when I did this exercise was write down those things. They're like your goals. What are the things that mean you have enough? And, quite honestly, I was like, okay, what does enough for me look like? And it very much looks like what I have right now. So, which was a really nice feeling to have. So, remember those goalposts don't have to keep moving as often as other people make you think. There's nothing wrong with staying in a company or a role that you actually truly enjoy for 10 years. There's nothing wrong with that.
Is that where the saying "keep up with the Joneses" comes from?
Yes. Yeah. With the Joneses.
That social pressure that you end up doing it more for the status or the external factors. I like what you say, like writing it down, going back to the internal factors, and then actually realizing, hey, I don't need that much, right? And that then, so it's a lot of awareness, I guess.
Yeah, and not something that people think about or that we think about, like I was inspired by reading this book. If I hadn't read the book, I wouldn't have thought about this stuff, right? And
we see it a lot in the fitness industry as well, right? Like, because we're kind of fitness nerds. So inevitably you watch some, bit of bodybuilding stuff on YouTube. And, a lot of the guys kind of become to resent that aggressiveness in their goals, right? Of always gaining, always becoming leaner, and they end up like burned out. Like, what is it really for? Like, I'm already in a very good shape. I'm healthy. Why can't I just not ignore? Why can't I just enjoy that? But I mean, it's similar with the developer journey, right? Like, you can constantly have higher goals but also look back. And I think the wins file then the success wall comes in there as well, right? To really stop and look at what you did achieve and just to be genuinely happy about that.
Yeah, exactly right. And, if you feel yourself being pulled in that direction of, I guess, I won't say greed, because that's a very financial term I'm thinking of here, but you know what I'm talking about. If you get pulled towards the stuff that you don't necessarily need, and you don't have it, try and catch yourself. Try and stop yourself and take that. It's like before you buy something, they say leave it for 2 weeks and think about how you felt without it for those 2 weeks. If you're fine, you don't need it, right? So same sort of thing. Give yourself that space. Yeah, give yourself that space to make the decision and really think about it. And yeah, there's my rant for the week.
One challenge, kind of put you on the spot. How does that rhyme with our always like, what's next, what's next, what's next, which we always ask?
Well, that's the thing, right? What enough looks like for you from that job perspective is kind of irrelevant to the what's next, because we're talking about something that you kind of don't have, right? Like a job, like the title or an extra $10 million or something like that. When we talk about what's next, we're talking about what goal is next. So what are you trying to learn? It's not that the goalposts get further away, like with the career. It's like, what actually means something to you that you want to spend your time on? I think everyone should have something that they want to sink their teeth into. And what's next for me is picking up the guitar again, which I picked up a couple of weeks ago, and I've been loving it. So my what's next has nothing to do with a career or whatever. It has everything to do with just doing something that I love spending my time with. Could be, learning a new skill other than that. So if you're in the Python scene, it could be learning how AI works. And, to what end, of course, you'll have to decide if that's something for you. But for most people, it'd just be, well, I just want to be across it. I just want to I'm interested in it, and I just want to learn more about it. That's a definite what's next. It's worth your time, right? But if you're talking about, I'm going to go become the director of this company and I'm going to work 50, 60, 70-hour weeks to get there, is that really worth it? So there you go.
Yeah. Great.
Did that help?
Yeah, it did.
Nice. It's funny you mentioned that. I found a comic online the other day. I don't know. I wish I could share it on the podcast and the YouTube channel somehow. Maybe a link. But it's just a guy who's at the gym who says his muscles are huge. And the jacked guy next to him like, oh, my friend, this is a lifelong journey. You have many years to come. He goes, no, I think I'm good with this. I'm done. And he walks off. And then the jacked guy sitting there watching the sunset going, what do you mean enough? What?
We're totally going to link this now. Yeah.
I got it on my phone. I got to find a way to put on this. But anyway. All right. Awesome. So thank you, everyone, for listening. As we wrap it up, we'll jump into books quickly. Bob, you go. What's happening?
Well, more jet learning, right? Just in time. So today I read a little bit of regular expression theory because I'm delivering part 2 today. But other than that, I'm still hooked to the fiction, specifically Dostoevsky. Finished Crime and Punishment, and I'm embarking on The Idiot. So the classics.
Every time you say that book name to me in conversation, I think, who you call it an idiot?
I'm not calling it an idiot. It's the title of the book.
Nice. Yeah. I love that you're reading those books. It blows me away. Super classics, definitely heavy. So
definitely classics, definitely a bit heavy, but a lot of psychology, a lot of, to learn about split personalities, deeper meaning. It makes you think.
Not a light read.
Because, he's very good in going very deep in his characters. And then he offsets those characters, right? So they symbolize different streams or different, characters in life as well. And it makes you think about, would I have a little bit of this personality, or would I have something of? So it's to me, it's fascinating. If you're into philosophy, psychology, you will appreciate that.
I love that you read fiction for very non-fictional
reasons. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, again, we're gonna have to send Bob a whole bunch of fiction books that
I will still read Dune at some point. Yeah.
Perfect. Nice.
Or The Hobbit, or something.
I wouldn't go down that path. Yeah. I didn't say that. Nice. Okay. What am I reading? Hang on. I finished, surprisingly, I was just reading and then I was like, oh, that's the end of the book. On the weekend, I finished book 3 in the A Wizard of Earthsea series. And so I've started book 4 called Tahanu, or something like that. I don't think I've ever read this one. I think I might have read up to the end of book 3 when I was younger. So yeah, exciting.
Oh, you're going back to stuff you read in the past?
I must have read these in like grade 7. I remember bits and pieces, but nowhere near as much. Like I've forgotten it all. So it's really cool. It's like reading it brand new again. And certainly book 4 I've never read. So
yeah, it's really cool to read stuff again after so many years, because you come back to the work with a different personality, right? So you're going to read it differently because you have now how many years of experience. Accumulated, and you'll see it with different eyes. So,
well, it's also interesting that they even had us read these in like grade 7, because I'm thinking about my kids. I'm going, you wouldn't get half of this stuff,
Yeah,
and so I probably didn't absorb any of it when I was that young. Just there's a wizard. He can
like 1984, Brave New World, like these classics, right? Would these really be appropriate for 15, 16 years? Maybe. I mean, they're readable, but would you really get the deeper meaning? Yeah.
Agreed.
And then they spoil it sometimes for people, right? They start to hate reading because it was all so difficult.
Yeah, well, that's it. But then, on the flip side, I see them reading books like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I'm like, oh, God, read anything with that. So I don't mean to bag those books out, but I read those books. I'm like, they look like a novel, but there's like 10 words per page with all the comic strips in them. I'm like, geez Louise. Yeah. Gonna find, at least my eldest, he's currently working his way through Harry Potter for the 5th time. So that's pretty good. But
nice.
So everyone, this is exactly what conversations like for Bob and I. I forgot we were recording a podcast right now.
Yeah, we're like not recording, right? Oh, we are. Funny enough, we get part of this talk is just on the podcast because we're so busy. So
yeah, exactly. We're just hanging out now.
But we love books, and people that listen to our podcast, I think a large percentage also loves books. So and share with us as well. Like if you go to the Pybites Slack, there's a books channel. Hop in there, share what you're reading.
Yep. And if you put your reading lists on pybitesbooks.com, we'll love you even more.
That's another way you can share. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. We're good?
We're good. What's coming next week? Do we know?
I have an interview with a awesome person, friend of mine, that I'm very excited to interview. So I might do that either later this week or early next week. And that'll be out. It's going to be good. Very, very excited.
Is that the mindset coach we also getting or not?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we also get somebody for mindset.
We're giving away too much shush. So we'll talk.
Yeah. Some good stuff coming.
Good stuff's coming. Don't worry about that. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate the support and tuning in every week. You are awesome, and we'll be back next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening, watching. Keep the feedback coming, and to another 100 episodes.
Beautiful. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode. To hear more from us, go to Pybites/friends. That is pybit.es/friends, and receive a free gift just for being a friend of the show.
And to join our thriving Slack community of Python programmers, go to Pybites/community. That's pybit.es/community. We hope to see you there and catch you in the next episode.